Have you ever wondered what it's like to pitch a stock to real investment professionals? If you're a female or non binary student at a university, whatever your degree, Gaines University Investment Challenge could be exactly what your CV's been missing. You'll work in a small team to research a real UK listed company, build an investment case, and present your ideas to industry experts. Along the way, you'll get skills workshops delivered by professionals, exclusive mentoring, and the chance to compete for prizes, including funded CISI qualifications worth over £100. No finance background is needed, just curiosity and a willingness to give it a go. It's completely free and mostly online. Applications are open now and close on the 19th of June. So get your team together and head to gainuk.org to sign up before you miss it. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Girls Are Investors podcast. Today is a really fun one because we're joined by the winners of this year's Gaines Schools Investment Challenge. Now, if you've ever thought investing sounds interesting but also slightly intimidating, this episode is for you. Because the young women we're speaking to today, Sophia, Hannah, Anushka, Lazia and Tanisha, were in that exact position not that long ago. They were given a company and asked to analyse it, build a stock pitch and present their investment decision, and they won. So today we're getting into how they did it, what they learned and what they'd say to anyone thinking about taking part next year. We're also joined by their teacher Carol, who shares the importance of programmes like the challenge. Let's get into it. Welcome all. Thank you so much for joining us on the Girls Are Investors podcast, and a huge congratulations on winning the Schools Investment Challenge. How do you all feel? How did it feel when you found out that you won?
Quite surprised, I'd say.
Yeah, I think it felt really amazing. I think we were all really proud
We
of
all
our
found out in
achievement.
the same maths lesson.
Yeah, yeah. All kind of screamed with excitement. It was really, really exciting.
That's so nice. Well done. If I could just ask you all just to quickly introduce yourselves.
Anushka. I'm Sophia.
I'm Tanisha.
I'm Hannah.
And just talk to me around how you work together as a team.
I'd say at the start we sort of split ourselves into having individual tasks. Like if we had a big task such as the SWOT analysis, then we'd say one person doing strengths, one person doing weaknesses. And that meant that it didn't feel like we had too much to do because it was all split up.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Anything else? Was there anything you found that worked for yourselves as a team? Like what really made you guys click?
I think it's because we're also all friends. We're in the same economics class. We're in the same maths class. So I think we all are really comfortable with each other. So I think it was just trusting each other to do well in whichever bit we were assigned to do. And then overall putting that together, I think it ended up being a really amazing outcome. So I think that is what really elevated us to the next level.
And that's great. So before starting the challenge, how much did you actually know about investing or stock pitches?
I've never done a stock pitch before this, but I think we knew a bit about investing from economics, but we never really could apply it. So this was the first big chance that we all had.
Yeah. No, that's great. How do you feel now about investing? Is it something you want to learn more about? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, I feel like the challenge made it a lot more interesting because it wasn't like we had to jump right into everything about investing, and it was more of a steady start, which I feel like helped make it more accessible as well.
Yeah.
100%. I think it was a really nice experience to have at such a young age, when obviously things we can do in work experience is a lot more limited. But here we kind of have like the hands-on opportunity to create a financial report, which otherwise you wouldn't have gotten without Gain. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Great feedback as well. What made you want to take part? What spurred you on to get involved?
I think it was just a really good opportunity to learn more about investing in general. And I think a lot of us will be interested in that kind of path in the future. So I think that's one of the main reasons why.
For me especially, I really wanted to get some practical application of what we were learning because it is quite difficult to obtain work experience. But this program, it allows to almost work in a group, so we don't have too much pressure on us. But it also is really good because we could apply it to a real company like Burberry.
That's really interesting and cool that you got Burberry as well. That's quite a cool brand to look into. I guess going into the challenge, were you confident or were you a bit like, what have I signed up for here? Like, what was your initial thoughts going into it?
I'd say personally I was more of, I wasn't very confident because it was definitely, despite doing economics at A level, it did feel quite different, especially because a lot of it is something that we haven't really covered yet. So yeah, I don't know about everyone else.
Yeah, I think it was something new, but I think it was something we were all like excited about and really,
Yeah.
because it was something we just hadn't done before. So I think that excitement of applying the theory to something so much more hands-on was really like intriguing for all of us.
Brilliant. So I guess obviously we've mentioned that you've had Burberry. When you obviously got told that this is your stock to have a look at, did you have like an initial perception? Did you think, yes, we're going to invest straight away? Were you unsure? Did your opinion ever change? What were your thoughts?
When I first heard we had Burberry, I was quite excited because I knew it was like this really big British luxury brand. But apart from that, I didn't really know much about it. I've never shopped there. So I wasn't really sure about their situation. But I think definitely going forward, after looking at all their financial statistics and then their non-financial factors, I think we definitely had an idea that we weren't going to invest. Sorry to spoil that. But yeah, it was definitely interesting seeing like our journey and how our perception had changed a bit.
Yeah, interesting. What was the most challenging part about the competition?
I think learning the language around investing, especially all the financial terms, I think that was a bit of a challenge to like get our head around initially. But
I think it was also quite challenging to condense so much data and pick out which parts were relevant into what not small report, but into one report and then also a video because we wanted to keep interest and especially in the video, but also for the report, we wanted our um, analysis to stand out for different things.
And I guess when you were working together, like through any challenges, through anything you was unsure on, what was your approach as a team? Like how did you support each other with those challenges?
It sort of also allowed ourselves to work together a lot more as well. I know usually in teams you would split off and then you have different people doing different things and then it all inputs into one final product. But I feel like if we weren't sure on something, we would switch around and we'd say, okay, we can swap parts and do something else. And I think that helped us like input knowledge when maybe the other person wasn't so sure.
I think also just being able to kind of break down the task and keep on top of it each week really helped. And for example, when we're doing things like ESG, so different factors, if after we each did like different sections within it, we would all kind of swap and like double check each other. So I think it added even more detail that the other person may have missed. So I think that also really like boosted our analysis. For the Porter's Five Forces, where we switched perspectives, because it is quite easy to miss stuff, like Tanisha said.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a really interesting approach actually. Thank you for sharing that. With regards to the challenge then, what was your favourite part?
I think I'm a bit biased. I think my favorite part was definitely the video. I think it was just really cool to kind of see a report being condensed into such a like informational way. And then I think it was really intellectually stimulating to kind of pick out and decide which bits we thought were most important, and kind of shape it almost a bit of like a debate, like what are the pros of investing in Burberry, what are the cons. So I thought doing the video and getting that overall picture was really insightful. So yeah, that was my favorite bit.
Yeah. I think definitely seeing our end piece of work all compiled together, that was probably the best part. Yeah, seeing the final result and with the report as well, it does look quite almost like something you'd see in a business, which is not something we think of doing in school. So
Yeah, yeah. Well, now you've mentioned the video, let's talk about it because the Shark Tank idea was fantastic. We absolutely love that here again, and we read the feedback from the judges as well, and they absolutely loved the creativity around it. It was really, really cool. So, talk to me a little bit about their idea. Who came up with that?
Yeah, it was my idea for Shark Tank. I've been a huge like Shark Tank and Dragon's Den fan for like forever. And then when I figured out we had to do a video, I just love the fact that we had so much creative freedom. So I wanted it to be as engaging as possible. And I wanted the judges to genuinely feel like they're sitting down and watching like a Shark Tank episode. And I think my eye for detail really helped. And hopefully that was like reflected in the editing because even down to the music, down to the intro slide of saying, oh, it's like up to the sharks if they want to invest. I just wanted someone to feel so immersed and then really like do justice to our analysis and break it down into such a digestible and entertaining way. So yeah.
It was absolutely fantastic. We loved watching it, and it was cool to see the creativity come through. And I think that was one of the things about the challenge in its entirety that we loved, is just seeing all the students come together with so much creativity to present their ideas. But the Shark Tank one was just so fun to watch. Like, we loved it. So well done. With regards to the learning then, so is there something that you think, "Oh, I didn't know that before, but that's really interesting that I know now"?
Say in general, just the investment process and trying to figure out whether or not you'd invest in a stock. There was a lot I learned through it, and things like the intrinsic market value, which is something that I would have not really thought of before. So yeah.
I think I was also quite surprised, especially when watching the webinars, that there was so much qualitative analysis behind it, because at first, heads on, you think it's quite financial numbers. But when you really think about it, it does really matter about the company's performance, not only statistically, but also compared to its competitors and the industry itself.
Interesting. Great, thank you. Carol, if we switch over to yourself, if that's okay. How do you feel being a teacher of a winning team?
Absolutely wonderful. When I received that email, and I replied with a wow, and amazing. Although I have to say, not completely surprised, um, because the girls are absolutely brilliant at working together. They are very independent in the way that they learn, and as a team, they worked exceptionally well. But we're very proud. The whole school is very proud. We had the announcement last week in our staff meeting, and we got lots of wows in the staff room on that day. So yes, we're so excited to have launched this Gains Investments, our second year here, and we're just very proud. And last year, one of our teams came fifth, and to achieve first place this year, it's really commendable to these girls.
Yeah, it's amazing to see, you a comeback for the school to come back and actually win it. It's incredible. I guess from your perspective, what does it mean to you to be able to bring students into activities like this?
I think it's really important. It is an industry that requires women, strong, confident women, and I very privileged to be working in a school that really empowers girls to be bold and confident and take risks. And I think this is a fantastic program that allows students to do that. It enhances their learning beyond the curriculum, which I think is really important. It enriches their learning, and actually, I think it has encouraged. It has helped help students make better decisions and choices, and some students have chosen to study economics with finance at university. So that to me is a great sort of outcome and achievement of what we're doing here, and that is to enhance students' learning of the financial markets.
And that's really great feedback, and good to see. Obviously, there's so much like greatness coming out of the program for the school, and to see you guys come back as well is just brilliant. So yeah, thank you so much. Back to the girls then, just to have a quick chat about your confidence now with investing and finance. So do you feel more confident now going into conversations about finance?
Yeah, definitely. I think we learned a lot of new vocabulary as well, and just how to navigate talking about investing, which definitely I didn't know much about before. I don't feel like
I definitely would say that I have a greater depth of knowledge. I agree, 100%. I think it really has inspired me to hopefully do something in investing in the future. And this was like a great first step as a little insight to what it might be like.
Yeah, brilliant. What would be your one simple piece of advice that you'd give for students looking to get involved in the program?
honestly, I think I'd say just to do it. To be honest, originally I wasn't planning on applying, but then I thought I might as well just give it a go. And I feel like I'd echo that to anyone else that's thinking of that.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. And if we go to Tanisha, so would you recommend this challenge to somebody and urging them to take part?
Yeah, 100%. I'm so happy that I took part, and I definitely would encourage anyone, even if they're a little bit scared, just because you learn so much, and if anything, you'll come away with a really good time. So 100%.
Fantastic. and Hannah. So what would be your top tips for students taking part next year? They've applied, they want to get involved. What would be your advice to take them through to the challenge and try get them to win?
I think one of the main things would be to just keep going, because it might feel like it's a bit challenging at times, but if you just stick with it, then it will definitely pay off.
That's such great advice. Thank you all so much for sharing your experience, and a huge congratulations again on winning. And for anyone listening, if this has even slightly piqued your interest, definitely check out the Gain Schools Investment Challenge. We'll link everything in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.